Hey, today I'm going to be using Alakazam, but not only that, I'm also going to be using Lucario. They both have access to the fast move of Counter. Now, Alakazam's fast move is a Community Day, but they also have access to Shadow Ball, and with Counter and Shadow Ball, they have fantastic coverage across the meta. Now, both of these Pokemon are going to be struggling against common Ghost-type Pokemon like Trevenant and Giratina Altered, which is also why having Shadow Ball can help out there. And they're also going to be struggling against Fairy-type Pokemon. In order to round off this team, we need a Pokemon that can handle both of those, and Alolan Muk with Poison Jab, Dark Pulse, and Acid Spray is the Pokemon to have on this team. So here's the roster: Alolan Muk, Alakazam, and Lucario. Spicy and fun. Let's see how we do. All right, getting into the first battle, we have Muk on the lead versus Pidgeot. So this is somewhat of an interesting lead for us. They actually decide to swap out into Swampert, so I'm going to go ahead and come in with Lucario. Now, in this situation against Swampert, we need to be shielding. But what's great about Lucario is we have access to Power Up Punch, which is going to constantly increase our damage. Now, we always want to be building up to Shadow Ball in order to threaten the shields right here. And we do get a shield. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and just look to fully counter down. We are going to take switch advantage because we can come out on the back end right here, and we shield an Earthquake as well. We can come out on the back end with so much ramped up damage that the Pidgeot won't be able to sustain. So let's see how we do. We land the next Power Up Punch. We fully take out the Swampert. And now in comes the Pidgeot. And remind you, this is an XL Ultra League Pidgeot right here, and this is Lucario with Power Up Punch and Counter. Look at this thing go. It is absolutely destroying it, and Lucario cannot be slept on, guys. If it gets in the right situations where it can come back in with so much ramped up damage, it is going to become insane to take down. Now, they decided to go for a Feather Dance, and they actually swapped into Cobalion, which is fine because we have Alakazam right here with Counter and Fire Punch, which is beautiful. Now, Cobalion can do a lot of neutral damage to us with Stone Edge, but Alakazam, even though it is glassy, should be able to survive right here. So this is going to be a very close one. I'm hoping that I can get to this next, yeah, that did a lot of damage. I'm hoping we can get to this next Fire Punch in time. No, I cannot. All right, we still have our Alolan Muk. The Pidgeot is relatively low, so we're going to go ahead and come in and look to go for a Dark Pulse. But they do get to the charge move right away. So I'm actually looking to overload on energy just a bit as they do actually go for the Sacred Sword. And my opponent makes a great swap now into Pidgeot to catch the Dark Pulse. So this now is getting very, very dicey for us. So we're going to go ahead and just try our best to get to this next Dark Pulse in time, which I think we're going to be able to do. But this team, again, is super spicy, so be cautious if you guys are going to try it out. Know that it is a lot of fun, and it's spicy and fun, but it's not something to, like, try to push high rating with, you know? All right, good game. Moving to the next one. We have Muk on the lead versus Ampharos. So usually when I see this, I know there's a Trevenant in the back, and 11 times out of 10 there is. So there's the Trevenant, and this is what's cool with Lucario as a safe swap, is you have access to Shadow Ball to force shields from the Trevenant, because if they let that go, they're getting boomed, right? And they're going to go ahead and load up on a lot of energy, which is perfectly fine with me. Alolan Muk is going to be resisting everything from Trevenant. The Seed Bombs, the Shadow Balls, even if it has Foul Play, we're resisting it all. Now, they're going to go ahead and look to go for another charge move, which is fine. We're going to let that go. We're going to come in with the Muk now and load up on energy. If Trevenant is the hardest counter to Alakazam on this team, Alakazam might just be able to sweep, but it's going to be a close one. So we're going to go ahead and load up a little bit extra energy. They're going for another charge move. That's fine. We're going to save our shields. I want to make sure this Alolan Muk has plenty of energy on the back end, but I don't think I can fully commit to the farm down. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Dark Pulse now. Maybe, you know, maybe I could have committed to the farm down, but we're going to go ahead and land the Dark Pulse, and they're going to come in with the Ampharos right here. So I'm going to look to go for Acid Spray. What am I hoping is that they try to shield, potentially, but also it's going to force them to switch out because the counters now are going to be doing so much damage. And they're going to go ahead and go for a charge move, so this is probably going to be Brutal Swing, so I will shield it. And let's see what the final Pokemon is going to be. It's going to be a Walrein. So this is going to be a very, very close one. We're going to go ahead and build up the Shadow Ball and then go for Fire Punch, as this does do neutral damage. So we do get a shield right there, which is perfect. And now it's going to be a race to the next charge move. And I don't think I'm going to be able to make it in time. So I'm going to go ahead and make a decision to go for Fire Punch. But I don't get there in time, unfortunately. Ugh. Now, I actually survive right there with 1 HP and a Dream, and I then decide now, because I'm going to go ahead and go for the Fire Punch. I thought maybe I could make it to the Shadow Ball, but I don't make it, so now I'm going to come in with the Muk and farm down. The Ampharos already threw its energy. We're going to be able to get to the Dark Pulse in time, and this is looking to be a good game. Very well played. No, Ampharos lives with 1 HP and a Dream right there. Very unfortunate. But good game to the opponent. I was hoping that was going to be Brutal Swing, but it wasn't. Good game. All right, we got Muk on the lead versus Tapu Fini. Now, this is a very positive matchup for us, and we will see them swap into Cobalion, and I make a mistake. I should have come in with Alakazam. It was just, I just instantly went into Lucario, and I just thought to myself, Alakazam would have been the better matchup right here. But Lucario can still do well, right? We have Power Up Punch, and Counter does more damage than Double Kick, so we are actually looking very good right here, but we're going to have to give up 2 shields. Now, this is again a situation where we're giving up all our shields to maintain switch advantage, but on the back end, remember what Lucario did to Pidgeot? Watch what it's going to do to Tapu Fini. Again, Fairy typing. So we're going to go ahead, it's going to come in, we're going to go for the Shadow Ball right away, because my hope is, obviously, I want to get a shield if I can. If I don't, this is going to punish them, and it lands. That's an incredible amount of damage, so we're going to go ahead and go for a Power-Up Punch as well, and my hope is that this finally gets a shield, but if it doesn't, I'm actually going to swap into a Alolan Muk and Poison Jab down before they can react. And the final Pokemon is going to be a Pidgeot. So this basically is going to be a good game, very well played, because the Acid Sprays and Poison Jabs are going to continuously add up. If they decide to go for a Brave Bird right here, then Alakazam is going to counter down so hard, but they instead go for Feather Dance, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and go for another Acid Spray, trying to force shields, just constantly debuffing this Pidgeot, and the poor Pidgeot has no clue that it's going to get destroyed by an Alakazam in the back, as they are now building up as much energy as possible. And they're going to go ahead and look to go for a Brave Bird right here. Boom. In comes the Alakazam. 1, 2, 3, done. Pidgeot goes down. And that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right. Moving into the next one, we have Muk on the lead versus Charizard. Okay, so somewhat of a neutral matchup right here. Let's see what they decide to do. My hope is to go for Acid Spray and try to debuff. But they're going to go ahead and actually swap out. And they swap out into Snorlax. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come in with the Lucario. And then we're just going to do as much counter damage as possible, and we will give up a shield. We're not going to go for Power Up Punch. There's no reason to do that. We might as well have the energy on the back end here. We're going to go ahead and shield the potential superpower. And then with Charizard going to come back in, we're going to go ahead and go for Shadow Ball right here, because we're going to be winning CMP tie. And if hopefully this gets a shield, if it doesn't, Charizard's going down. So they're going to be shielding, and then they're going to go ahead and throw the Blast Burn. So this is perfectly fine right here. We're going to let this go. We're going to come in, boom, down goes the Lucario. We're going to come in with the Muk, and I don't know what that third Pokemon is, but it must be something weak to counter, potentially. So we're going to go ahead and go for another Acid Spray. Now, they do get to the Blast Burn in time, so I'm going to go ahead and let this go, as we can survive, but I make a critical mistake right here. Firstly, I go for Acid Spray. This is not the mistake. This is fine. I need to then swap out into Alakazam right away, but I don't, thinking I could get to another Acid Spray in time. So I come in with Alakazam, and they swap out, and it's an Obstagoon in the back. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and shield, because we can win CMP tie against Charizard with our Shadow Ball. So we're going to go ahead and fully counter down, and then we will win right here with a Shadow Ball. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. Had I swapped out right away into Alakazam and gotten ahead on energy, GG's, boom. All right, we got Scrafty on the lead, so I'm going to swap out into Lucario, and they swap into Articuno right away. So this is actually a pretty good matchup for us because we're going to be resisting the ice-type moves right here. So we're going to let that Icy Wind go through. We're going to load up on energy and go for Shadow Ball now, as this will do a lot of neutral damage. And I was actually surprised they came in with Articuno. But now we can fully take this over as we can go for a power-up punch here. This might just force a shield from Articuno if they want to go for another charge move, or they'll probably just let it go. But no, they survive! Oh my god, dang. Alright, we're going to go ahead and no shield. We can survive this next Icy Wind. And it's all a matter of what that final Pokemon is going to be, because we know the Scrafty's probably going to come in and counter down. But now we have switch alignment here. So we can come in with Alakazam as counter is doing super effective damage. We just have to watch out for foul plays, right? So we're going to go ahead and shield. I don't want to get caught getting hit with a foul play, and it is going to be that. So that's perfect. We do see a swap out now into Lugia, which is super spicy. So they got a fun team as well. We go for the Shadow Ball. They decide to let it go through. We're going to bring in the Muk now and just load up on energy. I don't know if I will be able to fully farm down before multiple Sky attacks can take us out, but we should be able to survive a decent amount where I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go for the Acid Spray here. I don't want to get hit with another Sky attack if I can, because then I can apply debuffs to the Scrafty here, because they're going to have to throw. We're only taking neutral damage from counter, and we have a good amount of health left where these poison jabs are going to start hurting. So they're going to have to throw energy, which now allows me to no shield this and then swap into Alakazam when the switch clock comes back up, which it's up now. All right, yeah, we should be good. We're going to be able to counter down, and that's going to be a good game. Very well played. All right, moving to the next one, we got Muk on the lead versus Giratina Altered. So this is the kind of lead that we want to see. They decide to swap out into Regirock, so we're going to bring in the Lucario right away. Now we're going to go ahead and go for Power Up Punch. This is one of those situations where I don't want to have to shield twice against the Regirock because they do have access to Focus Blast. So I will give up one shield here, but now because of Power Up Punch, I should be able to fully counter down. So it was a Focus Blast, that's perfectly fine. We can fully counter down now, and we have a lot of health and energy. But they actually bring in a Toxicroak, which was very surprising right here. A Pokemon I was not expecting, but Shadow Ball is going to do what Shadow Ball does. It forces shields, and now we're going to try to race to see if we can get to the next one in time, but they decide to go for the Mud Bomb right here, which is perfectly fine. We can bring in our Alakazam now, and we're in a very good situation where they're going to go ahead and swap out into Giratina Altered, and we basically lock this thing down. So that's going to be a good game because we're going to be able to basically go for double Fire Punch against the Toxicroak there to close the game out. And we decide to throw the Dark Pulse, but they actually surrendered while I was throwing it right there. So that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right, moving to the next one. We got Muk on the lead versus Gengar. Okay, haven't seen this one in a long time, but they're staying in, which tells me they're going to be running Focus Blast. You can't boom a boomer, okay? I see it coming a mile away. All right, we're going to go ahead and go for the Dark Pulse here. It's obviously going to be getting shields. An Acid Spray and Poison Jab really just isn't worth it because I'd rather force the shield for the little bit of extra energy than have a Poison, an Acid Spray no shielded. Right? So it's just one extra fast move or two extra fast moves right there. It's fine. So we're going to go ahead and go for another Dark Pulse. That was the Focus Blast, by the way, so it was a good shield. All right. They decided to let it go. We're going to swap out right away. It is going to be a Swampert that comes in. So now this is going to be very dangerous because this could be an Earthquake. I believe that was enough energy right there. So we're going to go ahead and no-shield it, but it was actually a Hydro Cannon, which allows us now to go for a Shadow Ball here to force the final shield from our opponent. We don't know what the final Pokemon is, but it's going to be up to Alakazam to close this game out for us. And this is now a very dangerous situation. We have a Swampert with a lot of energy and two Pokemon that don't like getting hit with its charge move. So we're going to go ahead and bring in the Alakazam here. We're going to be forced to shield. Oh, this is tough. It is the Earthquake, actually, so that's huge. That's a lot of energy. Had it been Hydro Cannon, it might have been different. They swap out into Florges, which is interesting because now we can bring in Muk and I kept the energy there on Alakazam because I didn't want to get farmed down by Swampert in order for them to close the game out. So I go for the Acid Spray, but we lose CMP Tide to Disarming Voice. So now, with the remaining health that Swampert has, we need a Shadow Ball and a Fire Punch. So we're going to go ahead and build up. This should be exactly enough to throw the Shadow Ball here to take out the Florges, and then we have the Fire Punch ready to go. Oh man, one more. We got the Fire Punch now. Miscounted right there. Should have been one more counter and we would have had it, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. This team was so much fun and spicy to use, and the counter and Shadow Ball was really the key there. I think that was the final one. That was the final battle. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, just something spicy and fun. Again, looking at these Pokemon that are more unique and lower ranked, you got to see what they're capable of against the meta. Counter and Shadow Ball. Both moves are extremely strong, as you guys know, so using it on both Alakazam and Lucario and pairing it with Alolan Muk worked out really well. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.